Bitch, I'm on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, I hit me a chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas facade, get a plot, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show and she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the crater. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a boss, so they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Tell them to point out who said it, they run it. Bitch, I'm on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that shit for the sale. Yeah.
Honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but you have to trust me. It's got maximum taste and zero sugar.
Stop playing games, wooden boy.
No, I'm a real boy.
Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, zero sugar. Try and believe.
What do you see here? Maybe history, or maybe it's the future.
Amarti mi consola. Amami ancora, fallo dolcemente, un anno, un mese, un'ora.
Tonali plug-in hybrid, a new charge of sportiness.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ultimate Masters Team Racing League here for round number 3 of Division 1. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action, and joining alongside me once again is Mr. Taylor Gordon. How are you doing, Taylor?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me again. I know it's second time in 3 weeks to filling in for the good old Flynn over there. I hope he gets sorts himself out soon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being here again. It was incredibly fun the first time round, so I'm expecting something similar the second time round. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a very different track in question. Of course, last time around we did go racing at Singapore. This time around, though, it is the Temple of Speed. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Monza, and honestly, one of my favourite tracks to commentate over at Monza, I'm not going to lie. But taking a look at what happened a fortnight ago, if you did forget what happened, of course, it was an OP1-2 with Nando taking victory ahead of Ryan in P2, with GL's Nick taking the final podium position. Nevertheless, racing drivers of Justin and Danielle in P4 and P5, good performance from them. And of course, WOR Dara in P6. Then of course, we got X Esports Sem in P7 with GT10's Boyer Lil in P8. Then the TF10 drivers of Max and Giovanno rounding out the top 10. And of course, outside of the top 10, we had Fraser for WOR coming in P11, Braddock for ET8 in P12, Felix 1 in 13 for X Esports, and of course GT10's second driver, of course Vita, coming through in P14. We had a fair handful of DNS last time, obviously with Azim and both of the IRT drivers in Smalley Bulls and Antonio. Of course, Azim driving for ET8 as well, and we had 3 drivers who unfortunately weren't able to get into the session, of course, due to the issues that we had last time out. And as, of course, GL Sasha and both CPI drivers in Artem and Top G. But that is, of course, what happened last week. But let's have a quick look at the standings and see what has happened in the first two racing. So as you can see, it is Outplayed Racing who lead the way on 95 points. Nevertheless Racing coming in second place on 61. And then of course we've got ET8 Esports on 56 points. Sorry, I meant to say 56 points. I almost said 58 then. You can tell I'm a little bit all over the place. But yeah, X Esports in fourth on 40 points. GT10 in fifth on 32 points. Then 31 points for the GL Esports team. And of course 31 points for WOR Esports as well. They are tied on points. So all to play for between those two teams here tonight. And of course only 1 point ahead of them is the GT10 in P5. But P8 is CPI Esports on 29 points. And of course we've got the TF10 team in 9th on 21 points. And of course IRT bringing up the rear in 10th place at the moment on 12 points. So it's an interesting start of the season. Of course, in the first two races, it seems like OP really taking a sizable lead early on.
Oh yeah, you got a 44-point lead at the start of a season after two races. You're usually in a very good position, and we did outline that at the beginning of the season when we did week one together that might have been the case as we would go along, and I don't see that changing much today, to be honest with you. I think this might be a very good track, much like we saw in Austria for Morak a couple of weeks ago. He's not racing tonight, but I think his teammates have got enough in him as we go into first couple of minutes of qualifying for Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick reminder for the viewers at home to know who's driving in what car. Is of course the OP team in the Scuderia Ferraris, ET8 in the AMG Mercedes Petronas F1 team, and of course GL in the Red Bull Racing team. WOR are in the Alfa Romeos. Nevertheless Racing are in the Williams F1 team. CPI are in the Aston Martin F1 team. X Esports are in the McLarens. GT10 in the Alfa Tauris. Then of course we've got IRT in the Haas F1 car, and of course TF10 in the Alpines. So I mean, we are a little bit in qualifying right now. Of course several drivers coming through to set their first flying lap. So I'm going to quickly jump on board with someone about to start a lap, and we'll jump on board with him.
I don't want to jump in already, but Toby is already out of the session. We haven't even got we're a couple of minutes into qualifying. We haven't even switched over to the qualifying on stream yet, and Toby is out, crashed at the end of Ascari, I believe during his first flying lap, and the McLaren is out already, the fastest lap being an 18.5 from TF10. So it's been an eventful first 4-5 minutes of qualifying so far, but like literally flying out everywhere. So I think that's more of a sign of what's to come, don't you think, man?
I mean, definitely can appear that way. Of course, Monza, one of those tricky circuits. I'm currently on board with OP Twist on his first flying lap of the session. He comes through the first chicane, through the flat out right-hander as we come into the De La Rocha chicane, breaking down fourth gear, the gear of choice here for Twist, getting good traction on the exit. Now coming into the Lesmos. Lesmo 1, fifth gear, throw the car in, and of course keep the speed up as we come through. Lesmo 2, clipping the inside curve, trying to get good traction on the exit. DRS wide open as we head down to the infamous Ascari chicane.
Yeah, and you've got to get this right. If you don't get this right, your lap is pretty much over and done with, and he does in fact get it as right as you would expect during this. There's a little bit of a slide in the mid-corner, but I don't think he's going to lose a lot of time from that. Meanwhile, yeah, 10 guys absolutely smashing it. Both the Alpines 1 and 2 at 18.4 and an 18.5 as we watch Twist come up to the line now, as he's only going to do an 18.9 for 10th place. So I definitely think it couldn't have gone any better if you're an Alpine driver right now. Through the first 5 minutes of this qualifying session, man.
Yeah, Absolutely, and of course it is already down into the 18.4s provisional pole right now by Mario Formula 01. Of course, currently on provisional pole position at this moment in time as we try to jump on board with another driver on board with GT10 Vita now coming into the middle sector split. Let's see what it says. It's a 52.5 as we enter Ascari. Very easy just to take a little bit too much curve through Ascari and lose the back end, but Vita doing very well there indeed as we run down now towards Parabolica and throwing the car in once again. 50 at the gear of choice, short shifting up in the 6, keeping it tight to minimise the distance to the line, and we cross the line with an 18.8, so puts himself up in the P9.
And you're looking for a top 10 in certain tracks like this because turn 1, even when we get to this level, turn 1 is going to be an absolute nightmare. Like everyone trying to maybe send a move into turn 1. If everyone comes out of turn 1 unscathed in the race, I'd be extremely surprised as we're only watching a bunch of people go on their outlaps and maybe a couple of them heading back into the pits. I think the next one out might be Felix, right? Yeah, Felix is about to cross the line to start his second flying lap of the day. He did a 19.4 in his first one as he heads down to the first chicane now, and I mean, there's a little bit of smoke there, maybe a little bit of a lock-up. Not great news for the McLaren driver. If you brake a little bit too deep, you could definitely screw up your line more than you want to. He is now going to go through the end of the first sector with a 26.2, which is about 3/4 of a tenth quicker than his first flying lap. That, in turn, would not be enough to move him anywhere whatsoever. So he's rooted to P14 if he continues to do a lap like this. We're going to see him through the second of the light zones now, and it looks pretty clean, not too deep, not too shallow. See if he's got enough speed down towards the end of the second sector now. He goes towards Ascari. He is currently 2 tenths up, still not enough to move him anywhere on the leaderboard. Still in 14th, goes for Ascari, keeps the car clean, doesn't lose it anywhere down into Parabolica, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the greatest of laps for Felix. Maybe enough to move 1 or 2 positions. What did take 14th off of him with a 19.2, so he would move back up into 14th as it stands as he goes over the line with 19.1, and yeah, as I expected, rooted to P14 is not good news for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, absolutely not, but I know Felix won a very quick driver on his day, and definitely a driver that does prefer race pace over qualifying pace, that is for sure, as a little bit of traffic for several drivers at the moment, and I think a few mistakes coming through as I just jump on board with Dirk, who's decided to back out of his lap. Aiden about to get his lap underway, running down into the Retafidio chicane as he gets decent traction on the exit now as we approach turn number 3, Curva Grande, where of course we see many side-by-side action going on through there as they head into the Della Rocha chicane. Braking, taking a lot of that inside curve, and it just unsettles him slightly as he gets a little bit of a snap on the exit of the Della Rocha chicane. But into the Lesmos now. Lesmo 1, keeping it nice and smooth, avoiding the traffic on the inside there. And of course on Lesmo 2, doing absolutely well as well. DRS wide open as he runs down into the middle sector split, and of course into Ascari, marginally up on his previous lap time, which is currently good enough for P17, but coming through Ascari looked very smooth there, did Aiden, as he approaches Parabolica now, and this is so crucial for his lap because there's definitely more time on the table there for Aiden as we go deeper into this qualifying session, but we're going to see if he can find some more time here as he jumps up into 16 for the 19.3.
Yeah, he's definitely got more time than laying on there. Usually mistakes in the first couple of sectors making him pay there. He's going around also making the exact same mistake at the exact same part of the track as what Aiden did. But I want to point out Sasha's lap. Sasha doing a 18.516 above and splitting the two Alpine drivers of TF10, and I think he's done a very good job to put himself in that position off of his lap here. I just watched Jalram absolutely make a meal out of Ascari chicane and invalidate his lap. But yeah, you get to splitting a team who's started as well as TF has in this particular section. I think you've done something right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see how these drivers get on. I'm currently on board with Matteo, currently in P5, 18.5 as he's coming through the Lesmos now. And of course, we'll open DRS on the rundown in towards Ascari once again. Yellow flags are up, so we can't actually see how long is remaining in the session at this moment in time. And I think it's, about 5.5 minutes left as we go through Ascari with Matteo, and he'll get a nice tow off his teammate on the rundown in towards Parabolica. So this could go very well for Matteo. Does have a little bit of traffic ahead. You'll hope that the Alfa Romeo doesn't impede him too much. Takes a wide line on the entry in towards Parabolica, and he does improve, goes up onto the front row. But could he have got a bit more time if that Alfa Romeo wasn't there?
Well, I guess he's still got one more run to go, so I guess that question will get answered in a couple of minutes' time. Also, trying to look at the team game from the AlphaTauris, and it did not work. Looking through the first couple of corners, they absolutely massacred the first chicane, and even with the team game, almost sent one of them off the track entirely. And yeah, it was the one that was meant to get the DRS, the tow, and all the help from his teammates. He just wasted it. The lap absolutely wasted it. 2 seconds down, nothing going right. They're still 13th and 15th. GT10 need to get their finger out in order to actually do something here, because that sort of teamwork is not going to go anywhere quick when it comes to the race time. And Quartz is about to actually start a flying lap here, with about 4 minutes left of qualifying, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. We are on board with Quartz as he has DRS wide open on the rundown into the Retafilio chicane, and we shall see how the GT10 driver will get on. Breaking down second gear, the gear of choice here for Quartz. Short shifting up into third and then into fourth on the exit. Getting good traction there. Has come through Curva Grande now. Getting onto the inside curve in Curva Grande, really trying to maximise the track as best as possible as he comes into the Delaroche chicane. A little bit too deep on entry, and that has compromised him on the second phase of the Retafilio chicane, and that has definitely scrubbed off a bit of time there for Quartz. Coming through the Lesmos now. Lesmo 1 was pretty decent. Lesmo 2 very safe and secure. DRS wide open once again. Let's run down in towards Ascari. Middle temper split. Is Quartz up on his time. Marginally up as we go through Ascari now. And that is absolutely attacking Ascari right there for Quartz. And we hope he's gained a decent bit of time there, but coming through Parabolica now. Needs to find a decent amount of time if he wants to climb up into any meaningful positions, but coming through Parabolica to the line, will come Quartz, and he's actually building up coming into the pits.
Yeah, he needs to realistically find about 6-7 tenths of a second to be up with the rest of the grid, and quite frankly, I think he's stuck in a little bit of a battle with Felix for PT14. They have been there basically the entire way through. We've got we've got pretty much everyone coming out for one last shot of this. It's this team who's the first two.
Sorry, Mario is going to be the first one to set a flying lap here, beginning his lap now, coming down into the Retafilio chicane. And it's so important to not get held up by traffic. You see Mario there, just getting a little bit too deep on the entry, and that did cost him a little bit of time on the exit of the Retafilio chicane. But now through Curva Grande as we head to the Delaroche chicane. A lot of traffic ahead, and look at that, yeah, nearly 3 tenths down in the first sector. That's what that one mistake has done for Mario here.
Yeah, he also didn't get helped by that Ferrari's late choice to get out of the way. It didn't look like the Ferrari was very convinced of what he was actually meant to do when we were looking at it. But yeah, that effectively puts an end to anything he's going to be able to do for the rest of qualifying. So he's just going to be sat here watching everyone else and hoping that there's a chance to hold on to that provisional pole that he currently has.
I tell you what, the provisional pole might be in the threat, yo. I'm on board with NLR Marlon as he is a 10th and a half up in the middle sector, coming through Power Walker now. As he comes to the line, has he done enough to snag provisional pole position away from Mario here to the line? And he does. It's an 18.2 for Marlon.
He's done it quite considerably too, a 10th and some change. That is, well, that's the well, Mario can't get there. He did qualifying is essentially over, and his best bet for Alpine now is to use the code that Mario was in fact setting up when we were on him last with Dirt, just to try and get Dirt as closer as if not in front of Marlon as we continue to watch through Sasha coming through Ascari now. Let's see whether or not Sasha's going to be able to pose a threat. Did split the Alpines before, still splitting the Alpines as it stands with one corner left to go. Dirt's out! Dirt's out!
Yeah, exit Lesmo 2 is out of the session as Sasha goes up into P3, improving by almost a tenth of a second. Matteo, a 10th up in the first sector, coming through the Lesmos now, and he'll come through Lesmo 2 where we just seen Dirk lose the car on the exit and of course retiring from the session. Checker flag is out. Yoram up into P5 as he is going to have a very good lap there. Matteo doing fantastic as there's a Alfa Romeo of Yannick who is out on the exit of Ascari there. Hopefully not too off-putting for some of the drivers coming through. But Matteo now to the line as he done enough to snag pole position away from Marlon. Up to the line, and he does!
Yes.
Matteo, provisional pole for him. Can anyone else top that? Johan is on a cooldown lap. Twist and Blues goes up in the P8. CPI Michelle as Michelle now to the line and it's not looking good.
Everyone else got caught on with the yellow flag. With the yellow flag in Ascari, it looked like a bunch of people backed out. So I think that's it. I think that is game set match. I think Matteo just stole pole from Marlon right at the end. Literally the last available opportunity. He has done an absolute wonder of a lap there, I think, Matteo. He put the Mercedes on pole position. I think we might have a very interesting race coming up. Whether it's clean is a different question, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Matteo putting it on pole position for the ET8 esports team, and a fantastic qualifying session. Takes it on the final lap here in qualifying, away from Neverlast Racing's Marlon. And an interestingly, unfortunately for Mario, he wasn't able to find any time on his final run, and that really did cost him.
Yeah, when you make a mistake like that, you've got to sit and just hope, I guess. There's not usually a good position to be in when you're driving against these guys, the caliber of these guys. And if you make a mistake on your supposedly fastest lap, track ramped up and this, that, you're gonna be made to pay for it, and he's made to pay with a second row start.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's Matteo, who takes pole position ahead of Marlon in second place. Mario in P3 with Sasha in P4. Yoram in P5 with Dirk in P6. Johan in 7th and a Twist in 8th. Daniel in 9th with Ryan rounding out the top 10. And we got Cilio in 11th for Michelle in 12th. Evil, Vita, Felix1, Quartz, Yannick, Aiden and Toby. Rounding out the rest of the field outside of the top 10. And of course, I'm not sure if we did manage to get the the second CPI driver in the end. He was having issues again into the lobby, unfortunately.
Did not.
It is
did not get him in.
unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately for CPI, they are down a driver here for this race, and after what happened a fortnight ago where two of their drivers were unable to make it into the lobby, it's an uphill battle for the defending champions.
Yeah, you get so many unfortunate technological errors, and it's not great news. He's probably 1 foot out of defending the championship already. It's maybe only race 3, but you've got a long way to fight back against a team like OP, outplayed, and you just don't see them getting all of that back at this point. Maybe that changes down the line. Maybe CPI are able to build something out of relatively nothing to start with. But I would be a lot more confident in other teams like OP, like even TF10, which we saw earlier on in this qualifying session, putting a run together. Obviously, Mario, we saw making a mistake on his final run, but the pace is obviously there. Maybe they might be able to put something together and challenge later on into the season. Still a long way to go as we are waiting to start race 3. So, predictions for this one then, Mike.
Ooh, I am gonna go with Matteo and both TF10 drivers for the podium.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go a little bit different. I think it's going to be Mario's going to win. I think Mario and P1. I think his qualifying pace was good. He made a couple of mistakes. Maybe that comes in later on, but I think he got enough in the tank to get in front and possibly hold it. I'm going to go Matteo second, and I'm going to go Sasha P3. I think Sasha's got enough in the bag, maybe just to scrape something out of this in terms of a podium, maybe a little bit lower, but it's about to be race time.
Yeah, we're about to find out. 5 red lights are out, and we are underway here in Monza. And it looks like a very good start there for Matteo, immediately covering off Marlon there as Yoram and Sasha side by side. Dirk there sending it down the inside. So Dirk already alongside Mario, and moving up into P3 is Dirk as Marlon and Matteo are side by side as they come through the Curva Grande here on lap 1. And a lot of action going on. Yoram now dropping down into P8, overtaken by both OP drivers as they move up the order into 6th and 7th respectfully. Further down the field, you got Vita, who's gone around at the Della Rocha chicane as it's all kicked off in the midfield and down towards the back of the pack as overtakes are happening left, right and centre.
Yeah, and Vita's managed just about to get that car up and running again, and somehow it looks like he's avoided a little bit of damage too. Maybe he's definitely avoided visible damage. Whether or not there is actual damage on the car, I guess we'll wait and see whether or not he comes into the pit lane shortly, but down through to Parabolica, and not much has changed here. Both the Alpines changed positions. They've got a far better start than his compatriot, but in terms of lead, we might have something here from Marlon, and we're going to get something here from Marlon straight away, who actually leads going into lap 2, managed to get the fastest lap off of lap 1, obviously, as a result, and down into the first chicane. It's good for Marlon. It might not be so good here. Matteo, who's getting on a little bit of a slide on the exit of 2, and that's going to allow for Dirk to get by as well. He's one of the 3 drivers that started on a medium tyre compound. A couple of them going to the medium compound now after pitting lap 1. Nebel going on to the soft, but Dirk trying to make those medium tyres work out. He needs to get an advantage sooner rather than later. Obviously, he needs to be in good position when those hards go on his car. But for now, he seems to be doing pretty well. Got up from past his teammates. They are split strategy, so that won't come into it later on. You won't have a possibility of leaving the drivers high and dry, which might be the case for the Williams and might be the case for maybe the Mercedes if Evil can get somewhere as well later on. Yeah, there's a lot that happened in the first couple of laps, but the second lap seems to have just calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As Dirk has been a man on a mission in the early stages of this race, he has managed to climb himself up into P2, closing up to Marlon for the race lead. Not going to risk it into the Rettifilio, as it looks like in behind, Sasha really putting the pressure on Matteo, and that's going to allow Mario to go through. And Mario now back up into P4 after Sasha managed to get the overtake done on the previous lap.
Yeah, Sasha into turn 1 against Matteo just left the nose in. It was almost a half-hearted attempt at a move, something he knew he wasn't really going to get, but had to try it anyway. And of course, when you do such a move, you're going to open a door, and Mario's just going to fall through the gap that has actually been created from Sasha's half-hearted overtake. So self-inflicted wounds here for the Red Bull. Let's see if they can fix that relatively soon. But for now, I think TF10 might be overjoyed with the start of this race. They are absolutely flying. They're going to be able to play the team game sooner rather than later, as we see Matteo is going straight after Dirk right now as they head down towards Parabolica. He looked for it, made the look to the outside, but decided to back in and tuck in under Dirk, going back into the start of lap 4. And, well, the DRS is fully in play now.
Here comes
and
Matteo and Dirk. This could be a little bit scrappy into turn 1. But Matteo does back out, and look at that, Dirk's keeping it on the inside of the second part of the Rettifilio, and he's unable to get the traction on the exit. Meanwhile, in behind we've got Sasha battling out with Twist for P5, but we'll stay on board right now with the guys at the front as Dirk closing up on Marlon, but unable to get the move done. A little bit of contact from behind from Matteo. He gets a little bit of a love tap from Mario in behind. That potentially could be a bit of wind damage for the TF10 driver, as it's not ideal just making even a slight bit of contact on the rear end of someone else's car.
No, that's the one-way ticket to ending a race. As Zelram has just got past Danielle into P8, and that was relatively easy when you apply the DRS at such a track like Monza before one of the Ferraris goes deep, and so does one of the Aston Martins. So that's Avinas Michel has just gone off the track and lost a couple of positions at the very least, lost out to Quartz and to Felix, who have basically been joined at the hip the entire session so far, both qualifying and the race. Those two are inseparable. Sasha is going into the pits. Is that damage?
I think potentially a bit of damage here for Sasha, but battle for the lead again. Marlon able to hold off the DRS advances of Dirk and Matteo, but honestly, I mean, as it stands right now, I think Matteo's getting a little bit impatient behind Dirk by here. He wants to make the overtake, but he's just not finding the room to get the overtake done at the moment, is the ET8 driver. But he is starting to put more pressure on Dirk to try and get the overtake done on Marlon, saying if you don't go for this overtake, I will.
Yeah, and obviously, well, Dirk's going to be forced into something he's not going to want to do sooner rather than later, because he is also on the medium tyres. So taking advantage of that would say that he probably does have to make something happen sooner rather than later. Those tyres will obviously go off a lot quicker. And when it comes to that later on in the race, with both being switched over, one will be on the hard, the other one on the medium, it will probably end up backfiring if Dirk doesn't make an early move. Yeah. Elsewhere, Felix got past Quartz in the battle for two people that would never leave each other alone in this race now.
Dirk closing up once again on Marlon, but not close enough to make a move. Matteo as well, closing up but not close enough to make a move. Twist and Johan now beginning to spread out a little bit. The gap is 1.1 seconds, which is crucial around here because obviously being outside of DRS is absolutely detrimental to any race plans you may have in this race. But Johan trying to get himself back within that 1 second and comfortably back within it as well, I might add, as the top 10 all within a DRS train of each other. Then we got a 2.9 second gap to Cilio in P11, and then of course everyone in behind, obviously Vita having that mistake at the start of the race where he's dropped back massively, and then of course you've got Sasha and Daniel and everyone else who has made one pit stop in this race so far.
Yeah, and as we go through towards Parabolica, Matteo had a look for it again. We saw him almost pull alongside outside of Ascari, also seeing one of the guards just behind in the background go way off the track. But yeah, Matteo unable to get it done again, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it down into the first chicane here. Maybe we might have something going on here for the Alpine. No, he just decides to stay behind, and Yoram further back is going to be able to overtake Johan, and just about needed a lot of smoke in order to do so. That was a lock up and a half, and Yellow flag is sector 3. Where's that?
Sasha!
I think that's Sasha.
That's Sasha!
Yes, it is. Oh, that is, well, there goes my prediction. The damage at the start, the spin now, he is actually fighting for last position as race. That's a commentator's curse if you've ever seen one. But yeah, I think also we had.
He's gone straight on into the back of Eden.
Oh yeah, I see yellow flags all over the place there, and yeah, Sasha's got 5 seconds for corner cutting. That was just a half lap of madness there for Sasha, I think, going through Parabolica down towards the first chicane. That is, he was all over the place for a couple of corners there. I don't think you ever want to be in that position.
Absolutely
but
not.
yeah, I also think that earlier on when we were talking about the Ferraris dropping out DRS, maybe if they've got maybe an engineer or two in the parties with them, maybe just so word in the ear for one of them to make sure the other one's in DRS and make sure.
Free wide in towards the Rettifilio chicane as both Luram and Felix 1 get the overtake done on Johan, and Johan under pressure from Ryan in behind now as Joram and Felix 1 side by side coming through the Curva Grande, and it is going to be Felix 1 who takes that position. And it is, as I said, in terms of the qualifying pace that we saw from Felix 1, he is a guy that does prefer race pace. So, I mean, he has managed to climb his way up the field as Quartz gets through on Ryan, who I think got a little bit squeezed out coming through the Delarosa chicane and loses a few more positions there. But as it currently stands, Felix 1 up in the P6. But the battle at the front, Dirk is... He's pushing Marlon on the entry in towards Ascari, but he doesn't get the best of runs. Then you got Matteo, who closes up on the exit of Ascari all the way down towards Parabolica, but then neither of them go for the overtake on Marlon down the main straight. All they gotta do is use a bit of battery. They're all using a decent, well, they all got a decent amount of battery to their name, but I mean, you gotta think at some point it's just gonna be worth using a bit of battery, just getting the overtake done, and trying to pull away if possible.
Yeah, that would make sense, but also when you think about it, if you can get yourself into a position later on into the race where you're the guy in second, you might just be sat there thinking, well, if I'm in second, I might be able to make a little bit of a last ditch attempt later on in the race, and maybe some of these guys prefer actually riding this in second. Maybe we'll see as the strategy goes along. Also, yellow flags in sector 2, and I think that's Ryan. It's the other Red Bull. The Red Bull have just absolutely self-destructed in the last couple of laps here. Sasha essentially out of the race entirely, only a corner in Ascari ahead of the cars that we're currently watching for the lead of the race, and now Ryan off the track as well. Ryan, sorry, off the track into, well, out of the second chicane. it's just not gone well for the Red Bulls. And also on the same topic, Toby span earlier on where Felix was getting positions, Toby was losing them. So it's a bit of an indifferent day for a couple of teams so far through, 9 laps that we've completed now as we head down the main straight.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of cars, maybe an overtake? No, we're not getting overtakes. Would that be spoiling us in the DRS trade, I reckon? Going down into the first chicane, and yeah, it's basically what we came to expect so far, right, Mike?
Yeah, obviously, in terms of what we're seeing so far, I mean, Marlon right now currently on 70% ERS, so he has used more than the guys behind him, but he's not needing to push it too much on ERS just because Dirk and Matteo and obviously Mario not using any at all. Twist down to 35%. He's had to use quite a lot to keep with these guys. And then of course we got Felix 1 and Yoram there in 6th and 7th doing what they can at the moment. Meanwhile, Johan has made a pit stop. He's come out in P13, a bit of clear air ahead of him, and he has come out behind Danielle and Michelle, obviously the CPI and NLR driver up ahead. 4 seconds a gap, but both of these drivers I think will need to make another pit stop.
I'm just looking to see right now whether or not, yeah, there was front wings on every single person that has currently made a pit stop so far. Sasha's had a front wing change. Johan and Ryan, both had front wing changes on their hard to medium switches in the pit lane. So, yeah, it's been all over the place so far in terms of early pit stops and in terms of damage, actually, in those cars, all the way from essentially 11th back to the end of the grid. So, it's not over in terms of some of these guys' races, but they have a long way back now as we continue to see Dirk, who's just, I have to say at this point, has to be content of just sitting in behind Marlon the entire way if he can do it. And we'll see whether he can do, if he chooses to make a move into a sky, because he could have had this once or twice over as we watch Felix also make an overtake on Yaram there with just the simple DRS and the slipstream as they now go through Ascari and down towards Parabolica. The slipstream coming back in the Alfa Romeo's favor. Maybe a move on the outside of Parabolica. Nope, that is very promptly shut off by Felix, who is now up to 6th in this race, but nowhere near the top 5, Mike.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Felix 1, he is just going to get clean overtaken by Yoram here as his teammate is off the track in the Della Rosa chicane. Of course, Toby there falling down the order quite considerably. Sasha was 18.9 seconds behind, and now he's around 7 seconds behind. So that's how much time Toby lost in that one spin. Thilu is in the pits as well, going to come out. Should be a bit of, actually not going to be in a bit of clear air as Evil gets past. So does Aiden, so does Yannick, who's going to come out in a bit of traffic here. Yannick down the inside of Aiden, up in the P14, goes to WR driver, and he gets through and tries to push on up ahead. For the battle at the front, Dirk could have very easily taken the lead of this race, but at this stage now, there's little to no hope of him trying to pull away on those mediums, so it does play more beneficial for him now to just sit in the DRS train and try and extend this stint out, maybe all the way to the soft tyres. You never know, as Toby's in the pits and officially a lap down in this race.
Yeah, and that's just, at that point you just call it quits, I think. And we also just saw Felix re-overtake Gelram, and those two are going to go back and forth now as Felix has now separated himself from Quartz as we were going on earlier on in this race and then qualifying and basically anything else I've ever watched apparently. Dirk right up on the back of Marlon in 10th, and again just decides that he is very content in being in second position in this race as of right now. Yellow flag in sector 3, and I think
That's
that
Ryan.
might be Ryan. Yeah. Yeah, one of the Red Bulls again, and it's just a day to forget for the Red Bulls this time, I think.
Yeah, if you are a fan of GL, is not a good race to be a GL fan as it currently stands. Both drivers are having a horrible time down there towards the back here in Monza. In terms of the battles that we're getting at the moment, obviously we've got this battle for P10 between Danielle and Michelle. We've got a lovely little battle between Felix 1 and Yoram here for P6, and they are trading it back and forth as Marlon's into the pits, Matteo's in, Mario's in, Twist is in, and Dirk has been hung out to dry here, sticking out on the mediums.
I think that I don't know if that's been left out to dry, considering the fact that I think that's everyone's strategy. Everyone decided to do less on the hard than on the mediums, which I've not raced on Monza in a long time, and that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. They're going to do essentially 14 laps here on the medium type compared to the 13 they did on the hard. So I don't know if it's more getting left out to dry. Maybe the undercut is going to hinder him massively. But for now, I think we just have to wait and see how these strategies are going to play out.
Well,
but I don't envy Dirk at the moment.
I can tell you how the strategy's played out for one driver. Twist has been jumped in the pits by Yoram. He's been jumped in the pits by what's called Johan as well. And look at how far behind he is of Mario now. Remember, they came into the pits and they were relatively close with each other. And there's a Haas around of Aiden in the Delaware chicane, but Twist has lost a huge amount of time in the pit stop phase.
Yeah, he absolutely has. He's dropped quite a substantial way off. He's also 2 seconds off the back of Yaoram too, so he must have had something in that pit stop that absolutely screwed him over, and Sport picks up 3 for track limits. We've also got an extra lap here for Dirk and for Felix, who aren't on the same strategy as the rest of them, very clearly, as a result, and Vita now going into the pits after, completing 13 or 14 laps on his hard tyres. So this is getting a little bit more interesting. So Dirk might be looking to stick it out a little bit, maybe in an attempt to avoid that undercut being so powerful. You got your yellow flag in sector 1. Who's crashed?
As Yoram has gone off. Yoram, sorry. Yoram gone off as quads now all over the back of the WR driver, and Yoram there again all out of shape in the Retropilio chicane, and that is just not helping him at all. Meanwhile, they're in a train all the way up to Johan, currently in P6, as Twist is using his battery to try and get a job done on CPI Michelle, but Michelle right now 20% better off, almost 30% better off. Dirk's in the pits. Let's see what tyre he goes on to as we come through a sky with Twist, and Twist is pushing the CPI driver, and it is the Red Bull soft tyres for Dirk.
Wow, okay, I did not see that strategy coming. Also, Twist having to back off in the end. That was not good for Twist, who's lost a couple of attempts. In comes, I think that's Michelle coming back into the picture. It is. So that is not good news for the Aston Martin. CPI finally gets one in the lobby, and they turn out to have an absolute nightmare of a day. So it's really not going well for the defending champions as of yet. As for what happened in the pit, Dirk is in, a little bit of trouble here. He's on the quicker tyres. I don't know how long they're going to last and whether or not they will last the entire race, but he has to make up, easily 6 seconds there? It's about 6 seconds to Matteo, who's currently in the lead of this race. He even managed to overtake Marlon, so the Mercedes getting back to where he started.
Yeah, not only that, Mario just outside that 1 second rule, not going to have DRS down the straight in towards Ascari. He essentially needs Matteo and Marlon to have a little bit of a battle here, unless he gets a fantastic run out of Ascari, which he does get a good one, but it's not good enough to get within the 1 second window. Dirk on those soft tyres is going to be a rapid right now, but late in the race, will he still have the grip on those tyres? That will be the big question. As here goes Marlon back through on Matteo, up into the race lead once again. And I mean, obviously you mentioned about your prediction not playing out that well.
Oh, absolutely not. Sasha's absolutely all over the place. Third gone, and a couple of the other guys that I said that might be up the top just not making anything work whatsoever. So it's been I'll call it a classic commentator's curse, and not me being really bad at predicting stuff at all.
I mean, I can't lie. I think I'm doing okay with my predictions. So obviously I said Matteo and both TF10 drivers saw a podium. And right now all three of them are in the top 4.
And Marlon's the only one winning that, as we just saw Vita and I think that was Vita and Yannick, having an absolute battle into turn 1. And I think that Matteo and Marlon are going back at it left, right and centre through this race as well, as Matteo does take the lead of the race back, but that will probably be handed straight back to Marlon when they hit the straight into turn 1. And it's just going back and forth. Dirk is closing in on his teammate. I don't know if he's closing in enough. We'll wait and see. Felix just got an overtake on the Williams, so Felix is trying to make his way back up. Maybe he'll get a good run against Yalram and Johan sooner rather than late. Maybe even Twist as well, as Sports gets past Daniel now, as that Williams is just falling off a cliff right now as we go into turn 1, mate.
Yeah, as Marlon does get back through on Matteo. Mario did get DRS down the pit straight, but unfortunately, with the lack of ERS that he has available to him, he just falls back again outside that 1 second window. Dirk currently 3.4 seconds behind and is still closing in. Meanwhile, we got this big old train from OP Twist in P5 all the way down to Daniel in P10. And of course, Daniel still actually has already made the pit stop in this race, but obviously the tyres are a good 10 laps older than a lot of the cars around. I would see Johan's 5 laps better off than Danielle, but at this moment in time, Danielle on those worn medium tyres, you can see on this lap alone just how much Danielle's dropped off.
I think Toby's about to go into the pits to retire from the race, because he spun again on Parabolica and now has been properly lapped because no one else is going into the pits, as Marlon overtakes Matteo for what feels like the 15th time since they came out the pits. Ryan picks up 3 seconds for track limits. Danielle into the pits now as well, so they've conceded that they are well and truly on the wrong strategy, maybe affected with the damage, as I mentioned earlier on. But yeah, Marlon and Matteo at the front here are switching positions like it's going out of fashion. Every single chance they get, every single bit of DRS, it's an overtake for the lead, which is going to inevitably bring Mario back into it. And Mario is going to get DRS, so I guess we can turn this into a 3-way, and quite frankly, sooner rather than later into a 4-way, because Dirk is catching up. Maybe not as quick as he wants, but the 2 Alpine drivers are starting to make their way back towards the front. Matteo using the DRS once again into Ascari to take the lead, and will once again get overtaken down towards the first chicane. And that's just seemingly how this race is going at the moment, and that's just probably not a good position for either of these two to be in when you've got such a quick driver following them up to make it a triple threat as we go down towards the first couple of corners. And yeah, there you go, the overtake done by Marlon yet again, as they are just flip-flapping for the lead, and now Mario's within 7/10 of a second. This really has not worked out for the front two. Twist gets past Felix. I think that was actually an overtake just turn 1.
What's it? Look at the train there. get a sneak away up an extra position here as Johan was looking at Johan in the Letter Video chicane, and then of course on the exit, Quartz almost had a run on Johan, but lap 20 of 27 is currently Marlon who leads the way ahead of Matteo in P2. Mario currently in P3, and then of course P4 going the way of Dirk right now, but that little mistake we just saw from him not going to help him out whatsoever, and we are seeing him drop back once again, so maybe the strategy call wasn't the correct one. Maybe the tyres are beginning to fall off here.
Yeah, that might be the case. He has just lost 6-7 seconds in this lap, and once again, yet another overtake to the lead was made during the middle of the lap with the DRS. These two might try to set a record for the amount of overtakes done in one race. As here goes another one. We might as well do a miniature montage after this of these two just flipping positions and put the Benny Hill music behind it. We got Felix against Twist as well, down towards turn 1 as Felix. Well, Felix is making his soft tires work, so I'm now struggling to understand how the soft tires are not working on the Alpine of Dirk. What do you think?
Well, I think one big thing to do with it is obviously Felix is in this train. So he's getting a little bit of DRS assistance as well from time to time. With Dirk does not have the benefit of DRS, and it looks like Dirk right now is pushing as if his life depends on it, and he's overstepping the limits of the car just a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, that probably means that he is going in the wrong direction than what he would like, and that's 3 seconds for Michelle in the for track limits. There's 3-second time penalty flying left, right, and centre at this point in the race. Not as bad as it was in Austria, to be completely fair, but still bad nonetheless. Also, we had a lap where outside of this first straight, which has seen yet another change of the lead, where the overtake wasn't done in the middle of the lap. So Matteo might be starting to learn that he actually has to overtake at an optimal point instead of halfway through the lap where he's immediately going to lose it. We'll wait and see whether or not that plays out better for him on the upcoming lap. We'll see. Marlon's going to be right on the back of him going into the second chicane, and we got the two Lesmos coming up, and then a DRS straight. Let's see if Marlon's going to assume the role that Matteo's been taking for the last couple of laps. As we go now down towards the Scari with the DRS open, will the Williams make a change for the lead? He absolutely will. So, yeah, there's another one, chalk it up, but they have now got into a reverse role where Matteo is the one being overtaken down into a Scari rather than the one making the overtake, and that still hasn't brought Mario into the fold at all, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, these two are just overtaking each other with the help of DRS, and Mario just floating outside that 1 second. So he's getting close enough where he can just about see DRS, but his lack of ERS as Matteo retakes the race lead from Marlon, the lack of ERS is really hurting him, because every single time he gets within DRS, he hasn't got the ERS to really help him out down the straight. As we've got a yellow flag, and that is on the run down in towards Parabolic. I think that is Toby getting out of the way of guys coming through on the flying laps. And honestly, I mean, as it currently stands, we're getting a bit of DRS chicken right now from Matteo and Marlon here.
Oh yeah, and we're on lap 23, and we're about to probably see yet another change for the lead of this race. On cue, Matteo loses the lead of the race to Marlon. They go through into Ascari in the opposite way they entered the first corner on the same lap, and quite frankly, this is just going to play out the exact same way again. Isn't the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again, expecting different results? Like this is what I'm seeing here. Is it just the same thing happening lap after lap, and these guys expecting different results, as we're now going to see yet another overtake from Matteo and Marlon down towards turn 1, as they are just flip-flapping the lead every single opportunity they get. Mario's just dropping further and further back rather than opening the door for himself. Dirk's still the 4 seconds away that he was about 15 years ago, and Twist has managed to make a move on Felix, and it looked like Johan just trying one there, Felix too. They're still making contact all the way down through the second corner and through the third corner, the Curva Grande, and I think Felix is going to survive in the end. He's going to be in a Ferrari sandwich for now, but he's going to survive nonetheless. Yeah, that is going to be the case, mate.
Yeah, but look at this. You're looking down the inside in towards the first. Lesmo backs out of it though, does not get the run that he wanted out of the De La Rocha chicane. But yeah, Felix one getting overtaken by Twist. Johan trying to follow Twist through, and I think now, at this point now, the soft tires are definitely beginning to fall away here, as Marlon and Matteo again about to trade places as we head down the South Finish Straight to begin lap number 25 in this race. Sasha's into the pits as well. Officially a lap down in this race now for Sasha. So if you are a GL fan, you can call a commentator curse. That's what I think.
Yeah. I'll take the blame for this one, sure. Definitely. Oh, we got yellow flag in second 1. What is going on? That looked like it involved a fair few amount of cars. Johan, Delram, I think maybe Twist and Felix involved as well as maybe that's just all Sasha getting out of the way. I'm not entirely sure. That looked like a massive train going through turn 1. I'm not entirely sure what actually happened there. There's also, we saw this the last lap. Marlon didn't overtake into Ashari and actually played his cards right for once. I think he has learned the definition of insanity and decided to change his ways. And we are now seeing that the exact opposite is happening, where Matteo has now played, sat in deep. He's now within half a second. Maybe he's going for it now, or whether or not he goes for this now or waits a lap or two, just to make sure that Marlon has not got the ability to fight back. We'll wait and see what he does down towards turn 1 here. Still half a second. And obviously half a second you can get back with the right setup down towards turn 1, and Matteo has decided that he is not going to go for it. A little bit of a lock-up and smoke flaring through off the back of that Williams car.
Here comes Felix one on Twist, back through, and here comes Johan on Twist as well. As, yeah, I mean, what we're seeing right here is Sasha ghosting through the cars, obviously trying to unlap himself. Johan and Twist side by side coming through the Curva Grande as Johan looking for an opportunity as well. Potentially around the outside of the Rettifilio chicane, the De La Rocha chicane, and unable to get the car far enough alongside, but I think it would have been a risky overtake for Johan anyway if he did attempt that. But lap 26, because Matteo hasn't looked at trying to get a move done on Marlon here, Mario's closed up now.
He has, but the problem for Mario is it's too little too late for him. And if you're Matteo, you're looking at this and you are laughing, because you have managed to play the game of DRS chicken, as we called it a couple laps ago, too well. Provided he makes the move to absolute perfection. That's a little bit risky. He's made the move, but has he made it one DRS so too early? Maybe he was just making a move to get rid of Mario off the back, maybe hoping Mario can take a little bit of time out of Marlon here, which isn't going to happen because Mario's too far back. It doesn't really have the same sort of ERS that the rest of the other two stood. So I think Matteo may have just pulled the trigger a little bit too soon. We'll wait and see. There is one DRS option left. Obviously, we're going through the two lead modes now. There's one DRS left after the two lead modes. Matteo is going to get overtaken here quite comfortably, I would say. even though he is going to burn. So we'll wait and see what happens then. This is going to be the one that actually gets defended. Down towards the Ascari, and it's the Williams that takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, it's all about the
And
exit
Matteo.
now. It's all about the exit for the Ascari because it's the run down in towards Parabolica. Into the slipstream goes Matteo now. As he closes up, he'll look down the inside in towards Parabolica. On the final lap, the final corner, they're wheel to wheel, side by side. Matteo and Marlon. And it looks like Matteo is going to come out on top as he sees the checker flag. And there's Marlon around, but he does cross the line in second place. Mario comes through in P3. So I got 2/3 of the podium correct. I think that's a victory. As Dirk crosses the line. As look at this, there's Felix one twist side by side, and of course you had Johan and I believe it was Quartz who were side by side as well. Of course, Quartz had a 3-second time penalty. Same with Joram, and absolute drag race to the line there for P5, and of course for well, I'm gonna say for P8 as well because Quartz and Joram.
Yeah, and I thought Matteo in this race, I thought he's won it. He won it very well in the end, but I thought Matteo had gone a little bit too early. But he very clearly knew what he was doing. He clearly knew that he might have had enough power, maybe the setup advantage too, to get Marlon down into parabolic, which is usually a ballsy move. You don't usually get to see a lot of overtakes there because the speed difference is just not that big. But still, nonetheless, that's a very good race there from Matteo. Tied it to perfection in the end. Marlon's going to take second. Mario's going to get third. And yeah, a couple of I think TSN are going to be happy with a 3-4. OP going to have the gap closed on them a little bit here because of the drivers in front of them ending up actually doing a little bit better than expected. But yeah, that had a lot of twists and turns, and I guess when you play DRS chicken right, you get a win. That's exactly what happened at the end of this race, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very strategic battle between Matteo and Marlon there for the race win. And of course it was Matteo who did come out on top of that. And honestly, it all came down to the run out of Ascari. Because of course Matteo did defend on the run down into Ascari, and that of course compromised Marlon's run out of Ascari, which opened the door for Matteo to come back. But one more time, we'll go for the order. It is Matteo for ET8 who takes victory ahead of Neverlast Racing's Marlon in P2. And then of course TF10's Mario completes the podium with Dirk in P4. Felix 1 for XE Sports in P5. 15th up to 5th. A very good performance from him. OP's Twist and Johan in 6th and 7th. And of course we got Quartz in 8th. Johan in 9th. And of course I got Hilo in 10th. Daniel in 11th, Pepita in 12th, Michelle in 13th, Evil in 14th, Ryan in 15th, Aiden 16th, Yannick in 17th, and then of course we got Sasha and Toby in 18th and 19th, and I believe Sasha did pick up the fastest lap if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw Sasha next to the fastest lap there. I
think you might be right there, and yeah, definitely had a lot of twists and turns left in the race, just all the way down the grid. You saw fights between Felix and basically both Ferraris. Quartz also getting himself involved in that. Pretty good race for Quartz in the end. I did not have him down for the race quite like that. I think him and Felix were definitely should be up there. If we're doing a driver of the day, I'd probably give it to Felix, but I feel like that was a pretty good race. It was a lot better than I was going to give it credit for at the very least. I'm glad I got to watch it.
Yeah, of course, many times you're in Division 1, it doesn't always come down to, just pure pace. Sometimes it comes down to strategic battles, and that is what we got here tonight between Matteo and Marlon. It was, of course, a game of DRS chicken, and he who had DRS last added had it best and then had it worse, because of course defending it down the inside in towards Ascari, and of course that destroyed the run out of Ascari for Marlon, which allowed Matteo to get the launcher he needed down in towards Parabolica. But yeah, of course, that does bring an end to the action here tonight. In terms of my driver of the day, I'm going to give it to Felix one, just because 15th up to 5th, very strong performance from him. Very, very well done indeed. And of course, the drag race to the line between himself and Twist. Literally fine margins between the pair of them at the end. But of course, before we wrap things up here tonight, let us have a look at the calendar now. So, of course, next week will be yourself back taking us through the action in Division 2 at Monza. So that will be happening next Tuesday. But in a fortnight's time, I will be back once again, and we'll see if Flynn's back. Hopefully Flynn will be back. But then as we take to another iconic F1 circuit as we head to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. That, of course, will be happening in a fortnight's time here in Division 1. Next week, we will have Division 2, Round 3 at Italy. And obviously yourself will be taking us through the action there, Taylor. And you looking forward to Division 2 next week?
I am. It's when you get the Division 2 stuff, it may not be as close as this. I actually did have one of them earlier in the season that was actually really close, but you usually pretty good racing when you get to the Div 2 in these kind of tracks. They know what they're doing. It might not be as much of a strategy fest as what we got to see tonight, but it is usually a knockout brawl when it comes to with Div 2, and I am definitely looking forward to be back next week doing this all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. So Taylor will be back next week for Division 2 Round 3 at Italy. I will be back in a fortnight's time as we head to round number 4 in Division 1 for Belgium. But until then, guys, is good night from myself, Michael Edwards, is good night from Taylor. And of course, we'll catch you in the next set of races. Until then, guys, good night.
They been on their ass, bitch, I'm on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, I hit me to chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas facade, get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show and she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a boss, so they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Tell them to point out who said that they run it. Bitch, I'm on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. It's not how to tell, that shit for the sale. Yeah.
Honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but you have to trust me. It's got maximum taste and zero sugar.
Stop playing games, wooden boy.
No, I'm a real boy.
Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, zero sugar. Try and believe.
What do you see here? Maybe history, or maybe it's the future.
Amarti mi consola. Amami ancora, fallo dolcemente, un anno e mezzo, un'ora.
Tonali plug-in hybrid, a new charge of sportiness.